Good morning. Thank you for coming. My name is Vicki Janowski. I'm editor of the Greater Wilmington Business Journal, and welcome to election season 2024. I know there's been a lot of attention on the national level, but just as important in your daily lives and your business dealings here in our region are the lawmakers who get voted in on the local level. Many of you joined us in June when we had our last Power Breakfast, and the gubernatorial candidates joined us for their first appearance together on stage in the state. Today we have the first forum for the county commissioners, so we want to get through a lot of important issues, and we also want to hear from your questions as well. So today, up first, we'll hear from those campaigning for 3 open seats on the new Hanover County Board of Commissioners, and followed by that, we'll hear from the 2 candidates vying for the State Senate District 7 seat. As Rob mentioned, forum moderators are often a thankless job. So I wanted to just share a little bit about what we shared with the candidates ahead of time so you know how today will go. We've shared these rules with the candidates, but they've not seen the questions ahead of time. Each candidate will be given 1 minute for their opening introduction, and the first candidate that will start we've chosen at random. Candidates will have 1 minute to respond to questions from myself or from the audience, which will be sent over to me. If you have questions that you want to be considered, you can text them to the number 910-264-8955. You can also zap the QR code that is on your tables and submit them that way. So 1 minute I know is not a lot of time, but this is also the only opportunity for many of you to hear from the commissioner candidates before Election Day. So we want to get to as many issues as we can. And we'll rotate through the group so that the same person isn't always having to answer first. The most important person in the room this morning is our timekeeper, Maggie April, who's up at front and center. And candidates will get a 10-second warning before your time is up when Maggie will hold up the yellow card. And that's your cue to wrap up your thought. And when the time is up, Maggie will hold up a red card and will immediately announce that the time is up and move on. So with that, let me introduce to you the candidates that you'll see on the ballot today, or see on the ballot when early voting begins on October 17th and Election Day on November 5th. We'll have Republicans John Hinnant, Bill Reidenbach, and Dane Scalise, and Democrats Jonathan Barfield Jr., Cassidy Santaguida, and Stephanie Walker. So to start us off, again, chosen at random, Commissioner Barfield, if you could give us your opening statement.
Well, good morning. My name is Jonathan Barfield Jr., and I say junior for a reason. My father, Jonathan Barfield Sr., served as the county commissioner here from 1980 to 1992. Little facts for you. There have been 2 African-American county commissioners in our county since 1898, and they happen to be father and son. My wife, Laura, and I, we've been married next week 36 years. We have 4 daughters and 2 amazing grandsons. Hanover County is my home. This is where I was born, and this is where I was raised. I'm having my 40th class reunion this year from Hanover High School, and it's been an honor to serve as one of your county commissioners for the past 15 plus years. Serving as chair and vice chair on multiple occasions, helping to guide this county's growth. It's truly been an honor. One of my crowning achievements, I believe, is leading our county in 2011 with our first strategic planning session. Recognizing the county had not done the strat plan in almost 20 years, it was important to me to have a guiding document, a visioning statement for our county to propel forward. I believe in forward-thinking leadership. And that strat plan now guides our budget. It informs our budget process. We now have a strategy department based on that strat plan that was done back in 2011. See, this is a great place to live, work, and play.
That'll be time, Commissioner Barfield.
And I thank you all for being here this morning. Blessings.
Mr. Hinnant?
Oh, I thought we were going random. Good morning, my name is John Hinnant. I'm grateful and thankful to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and so thank you all for being here. Thank you to Rob and Vicki for putting this on, and the incredible team at the Business Journal who do all this organization. A little bit about my background. I owned a restaurant in downtown Wilmington, so I know the challenge and honor of signing in front of a paycheck. I've done real estate appraisal, and one of my crowning opportunities in my career was to serve as executive director and CEO of Wilmington Downtown Lincoln. In that role, I assisted over 50 businesses located in downtown Wilmington that created over 500 jobs in downtown. I had the honor of implementing a Vision 2020 plan, which painted a watercolor of this facility and everything behind it that now has become a reality. And that shows you the value of a good plan, including the watercolor that you can take and promote your community and shovel ready. Since 2011, 2013, I've been doing residential real estate appraisal and commercial real estate brokerage. I'll be on the back side of the ballot, so I want to encourage you to start on the back of the ballot when you step in to vote, and my name will be first on the ballot. I told you, Maggie, that's not my first red card, Michael. Please go.
Mr. Robinmark, please.
My name is Bill Robinmark, and I'm serving as the chair of the county commission now, soon to be 4 years. And when you run for county commission, you tell people what you want to do, and after you've run one time, you tell people what you did. And that's what I'm running on. I've got 4 or 5 projects that aren't finished. Some of them, like Project Grace, some of the economic development parks, just a lot of things that I want to finish personally and then turn it over to someone else. But I'm a lifelong resident of Wilmington, and I just absolutely love New Hanover County. And people tell me, they say, why do you let all these people move here? And I say, well, you know, what do you want me to do? It's a great place to live, and people want to live here. So we're just going to develop it cautiously and smart. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Cassidy Santaguida, and I'm running for commissioner because I know that over the next 4 years, our county commissioners are going to make decisions that fundamentally shape our children's future. We have grown enormously over the last few years, but we haven't always scaled effectively, and we're facing soaring housing costs, an increased burden in traffic, infrastructure, and our schools, and we're watching green spaces disappear. I moved here in 2016 to raise my family, but also to pursue a career opportunity at a young tech startup called Encino. When I joined the software engineering leadership team at Encino, I helped grow our team from about 25 software engineers located here in Wilmington to hundreds of engineers across 5 global offices. And we experienced one of the most successful tech IPOs of the century. I really enjoyed my 6 years at Encino, and that experience and leadership that I have successfully managing change, scale, and growth is what we need on the Board of Commissioners to help provide a bright future for our children. Thank you.
Good morning, friends. My name is Dane Scalise. I am a husband. I'm a father. My wife and I have 2 young sons, ages 9 and 6. I am a small business owner, and my small business is in the business of helping other small businesses with insurance and with law. Yes, I did say the word business quite a few times there. Please indulge me. I'm going to say it at least one more time. I'm also in the business of serving as your commissioner, and I take that work very, very seriously. Currently serving as your county commissioner truly is the honor of my life, and I am working hard every day to make sure that we are getting the right results in this community. I am dedicated, I am accessible, I am transparent, and I deliver results for you and the other people that are in this community. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Stephanie Walker. I've been faithfully serving on the school board since 2020. I am a state hunt policy fellow, and I've served on a lot of boards and commissions. I'm another resident here, I grew up here in New Hanover County, proud product of New Hanover County Schools and proud Wildcat. I have a public administration degree from UNCW. I think I've seen the rapid growth here in our community. I think I do remember before we had I-40 and College Road was 2 lanes. I think the things that we really need to pay attention to here are our rapid development and our affordable housing crisis, which leads to some of our homelessness. And public schools, I'm a strong advocate for public schools, serving on the school board for the last, obviously, 4 years. I've seen the inside of budgets, and I know we got a lot of work to do. So I am looking forward to working really hard for you guys. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. So our first question, we're going to start off with what's top of mind this week, and that is the record rainfall and flooding that we saw and the destruction in our, not just our county, but other surrounding counties, but also in our beach towns that are in New Hanover County. The storm took a lot of people by surprise, but flooding is not a new issue for our area. What do you think the county should do to address that infrastructure problem? And we're going to start with Ms. Santaguida.
Great. Like a lot of parents across the county and folks across the region on Monday, I was honestly very horrified and nervous about what our children and the folks in our coastal communities were facing with that enormous rainfall. I will never forget the picture of the sheriff's office in the high water vehicle bringing kids home from Carolina Beach Elementary School. And I think that really helps us see that we cannot control specific weather events, but we can control how we plan for and respond to them. And I'm incredibly grateful for the work of our first responders, and educators, and volunteers to make sure that folks in our community, particularly our children at school, were safe. Looking ahead, I think we need to understand that the way that we plan influences the impacts that we feel in our community. Thank you.
Commissioner Scalise?
We need to continue to invest in infrastructure, and in order to do that effectively, we're going to have to continue to maintain strong, important relationships both at the state and federal level. We have some excellent people in the Raleigh delegation who are bringing home quite a bit of money, including Michael Lee, who's in the room today, brought home almost $300 million for infrastructure to New Hanover County last year. We have to continue to have relationships like that in order to invest in infrastructure. Especially whenever it comes to times like this, we also have to be ready to react quickly. It's not just about what you can prepare for, it's how you react. Whenever we have something like what happened on Monday, you need somebody in office who knows who to call, who knows how to activate the emergency services, who knows how to reach out to the beach mayors to make sure that they have everything that they need. That's precisely what I did on Monday, and I'm going to continue to do as events like that happen in the future. Thank you.
So I've obviously lived here my whole life. I've lived through all the hurricanes. By far, Florence was the worst hurricane I have ever experienced. As an Ogden resident, we deal with that all the time. We had, I think, Debbie the last time. The flash flooding was terrible in our area. I am concerned. I know we have to develop, and I'm a supporter of that. We can't stop people coming here, but going forward, we really have to pay attention to how we do this development, because I know we made good strides with a sustainability committee. The county has done that, and also our stormwater management division. I think we need to really strengthen that, because it seems to be a fact of life. We're supposed to get 500-year, 500-year storms supposed to be every 500 years, but I feel like we're getting them consistently now. So I think going forward, we have to pay attention. We're a peninsula. Essentially, we have a river on one side, a sea on the other, and all the watersheds in between, and the water has to go somewhere. So we have to really pay attention to how we develop and what we do with the current problem we have now. Thank you.
On the heels of Hurricane Florence, the county recognized we needed a strategy to deal with water. So we formed a stormwater utility department, ramped up with roughly $55 per county resident in the unincorporated parts of the county to fund this department, to make sure that we can clean out the ditches and the streams and make water flow properly. It's amazing when you look at how water flows in our county. When you look from 30,000 feet above, you see all these ditches and streams that are connected and run into our waterways. We found that many of those were clogged with debris, and so we got our first $4 million grant from the federal government to start cleaning out those ditches and streams. And now, with help from our city, our county residents in the unincorporated parts of the county, we're able to clean out more and more of those. We have a very long list. I mean, the list is way long. The demand is really great, but the resources are coming in to indeed clean out all those ditches and streams and make sure the water flows properly in our county. Our goal is to make sure that no person's home floods in our county. And we look back to Hurricane Florence, no homes flooded in our county. Brunswick County, they did, but not in our county because of some of the things we put in place to be more proactive.
A core tenet of effective leadership is good communication, and I don't know why we didn't report, the media didn't report, that there was a lunar tide this past weekend, because in January it was published when the lunar tides were coming. Growing up, we called them lunar tides, and somebody renamed them king tides, but we knew we were going to have a lunar tide, We knew we had a low-pressure system forming off the coast, and we didn't take precaution, and that's just a failure of communication. I was also present in Hurricane Florence, I agree. Between Hurricane Diana, Hurricanes Bertha and Fran, and Florence, I've probably personally mucked out over 25 homes, so I understand the damage and destruction, including the home of my elderly father during Hurricane Florence. I feel that when I see the forecast for lunar tides, I put them in my calendar so that I know to go in my alley and clean out the storm drains. I know to walk down the curb in my front of my house to make sure that the drains are clear. And so I think I'll go back to the core tenet of good leadership and effective leadership is good communication. Thank you.
That storm, when it came in Monday, if it had come in 10 miles north or 15 miles north, Carolina Beach would have been spared. And some of the other places up the coast, Surf City doesn't do real well in bad weather conditions. But we have got to fix Carolina Beach. They've got a bad problem. They're just like New Orleans. When it rains, the streets flood. It doesn't have to be a bad storm. But we've got to figure out some kind of storm where we can run that water to the river and get rid of it. But unless we do, it's going to do that every single time. And these people can't stand it. I mean, we got some folks down there that don't have a place to live, they don't have a car, they don't have a place to go to work. So we are, as the county, we're trying to help them. We're getting help from the federal government and the state department, state government, and we're going to help them. But we got to fix that problem and not just do it all over again.
And we're going to turn to a question from the audience about growth and development. Natalie English asks, we know our region is poised for significant population growth, whether or not we do anything to bring them here. How will you ensure we can accommodate that growth with adequate accessible housing, transportation options, child and elderly care, et cetera? And Mr. Hinnant, you're going to start us off on that one.
Yeah, I think it's important that we have a clear understanding of the supply and demand dynamics affecting this. We've done a great job on our demand. We have a university that had a goal up until this spring to grow to 30,000 students, and for the last 6 or 7 years, they've been adding 1,000 net new students per year. Yet, they haven't added the housing on campus, and earlier this year, they master leased a privately owned apartment building. You compound that with the great working relationships that both our university and our community college have with companies like GE, Hitachi, PPD, Thermo Fisher, Live Oak, and Encino. These new students are landing good paying jobs in our community, and yet we've not kept up with the supply that demand is creating. So people are coming here, so we have to do a better job. We need all types of housing, but our most important focus on workforce housing, because 95,000 jobs in New Hanover County have commute from outside of New Hanover County, and that's where your traffic and congestion comes from.
Commissioner Rivenbark.
When you talk about affordable housing, there's 3 different kinds of affordable housing. You got older people that have retired. They're tired of mowing their yard. They're tired of painting the house, fixing things. So they're selling their house and moving in apartments. Then you've got workforce, which is your teachers, your policemen, your nurses, and your firemen. We got to find them a place to live. And then you've got your homeless people. So there's 3 different kinds. It's not just everybody just throws to figure out their affordable housing. We're working on it as a county. We committed $15 million over 5 years, and I believe the city did as well. I don't know if it was that much, but we're in the process of working with our nonprofits now, trying to figure out exactly where we need to go, what kind of housing we need, and I felt like they were the very people that needed to answer some of the questions about that, because they're the ones that actually deal with the people. Thank you.
You know, I've been particularly impressed with the county's investment in workforce housing, with the Workforce Housing Fund investing, $15 million over 5 years to help create workforce housing. I think we need to continue and expand on that investment as we see continued growth. When it comes to support a workforce that can support the growth and the businesses that are also coming into the county, we need a strong public education system from pre-K all the way through community college so that we can grow the talent that we need here for our workforce. I think as we grow and as we develop, we've got to be very intentional about making sure that we preserve the green spaces and the quality of life that attract people to the area and that will keep people here. And finally, when it comes to traffic, I think it's really important that we start to explore alternative transportation options because we can't just keep adding more cars to the roads. So we've got to look at improving public transit and continuing to build out bike and pedestrian pathways throughout the county. Thank you.
One of the most important things that the county can do whenever it comes to this issue is to set clear rules that are fairly applied to everyone. It is not ultimately the county's responsibility to do what the private sector is most able to achieve. Certainly we can help invest in concepts like workforce housing, and we do, and I'm glad that we do. But at the end of the day, this issue is going to be primarily addressed by the people that are in this room, the people that put their money, their livelihood, their time on the line to drive the private sector in the area and degree that it needs to be in. At the same time, the county does have an obligation to protect green space, to expand our parks, to make sure that we are providing a clean and safe environment for the people who live here, who work here. And I would say part of the way that we're going to achieve that is by looking to our friends and partners in Brunswick and Pender County. We are a smaller county than they are. They can carry more of this load.
So everything is interconnected, in my opinion. We want to expand, we want to grow economically. We have to stand in our values. We want to attract business. We have to support a strong public school system. We have to look after the people who look after us, which are our teachers, our nurses, our first responders. The fact of the matter is they can't afford to live here anymore. And I know working with the schools, a lot of teachers have to commute from Brunswick because it's cheaper to live. But we know the challenges with that when we have storms and we also have bridge issues. So I think that if we, going forward, we want to attract business, they're going to look to see, how we're taking care of our business. We do need probably another public transport. I know we had a failed initiative that the voters decided not to support, but if we're gonna really affect change as far as transportation, we gotta have a hard look at that. I think there's two sides of the same coin here: the inventory part of it, but also the portability part, and then on the flip side of that, our environment, because it is a concern, and we do need to be worried about storms. Thank you.
There's always a question and conversation around transportation. By a show of hands, how many folks that are in this room were not raised? If you weren't raised here, please raise your hand. I will tell you that you're the problem. When I grew up here, we didn't have a housing problem or a traffic problem until you all came here. But it's a good problem to have. Recognize this is a great place to live, work, and play. The county's in the process of updating our 2016 comprehensive land use plan. Prior to 2016, we had no plan. Recognizing that since 2016, things have definitely changed. I'm thankful that DOT is focused on our community with the military cutoff bypass, extension bypass, allowing traffic to flow better there. With the flyovers that will be on the MLK Parkway coming in Marketing Kerr and Marketing College in MLK Parkway, making sure the traffic can flow through. Military cutoff in Eastwood Road will also have a bypass there so you can go straight down to the beach or straight up to Mayfair. Traffic will flow better as DOT makes these needed investments in our community. But again, it's a great place to live, work, and play. That's why you all came here, because you saw how beautiful it is.
Okay, the New Hanover County Commissioners pick 5 of the 13 members of the New Hanover Community Endowment, which is the $1 billion plus fund that was created from the sale of NHRMC. While the endowment is an independent body, what direction would you take with who is chosen to sit on that board? And we're going to start with Ms. Walker.
Thank you. I didn't know if an endowment question would come up, but I'm glad it did. I personally was not a supporter of the Sept Hospital. I went there as a kid. Family members have been there. Both my kids were born there. But now that we're here, we were promised very life-changing things for our community. And I know being on the school board, we've struggled with our budgets. We are underfunded by the state, I will just say it, and that burden has been falling on us slowly here. The pillars of the endowment include education, they include safety, they include health and social equity. So I think what I would do is I would try and find people that really want to objectively look at the issues that we are facing here and tackle those problems with a mindset of life-changing generational change. You know, with the endowment, we're very fortunate. A lot of folks don't have that. We're the envy of a lot of people. So once it figures out what it really wants to be, I'm hoping we get people on board that will want to really make big change and help our nonprofits too.
Commissioner Barker.
The reality is, Commissioner Sept and myself, we've never weighed in one time on who's appointed to the endowment. Decisions were already made. Prior to us having the conversation, we had no input whatsoever. A couple of years ago, we saw Virginia Adams and Hannah Gage removed from that board. Two great serving members, Dr. Adams, former Dean of Nursing UNCW, Hannah Gage, former chair of the UNC Board of Governors. Folks with distinguished resumes were not allowed to be reappointed. Instead, two former commissioners were appointed to the endowment. At the same time, our board removed the only person of color that we had appointed. No diversity from the county has been appointed to the endowment. This last appointment we just had at our last meeting, Commissioner Zapp and I, we also voiced our concerns and made our motion, but the decision had already been made. To me, there needs to be a comprehensive conversation with all 5 commissioners, and we all weigh in on what's important as we move forward with the endowment, not 3 folks deciding who's going to sit on those boards.
The commission would have had more influence if we had not allowed the buyer to have controlling interest of our endowment. And I feel like the key is for us to all remember, if you have children, you know what it's like dealing with a 3 or 4-year-old. Our endowment is still growing up. It's still learning its way. But yesterday I sat in my first committee meeting with the outside agency funding group, and I said, hey, let's ask management if it'd be appropriate for an endowment staff person to be sitting here, because at some point, the endowment should have somebody sitting with our county manager during a county commission meeting. Somebody should be sitting with the city council during their council meetings, and somebody should be sitting with these outside funding agency committees, so that when they see something, they can say, hey, we can handle that, and just take it off the plate. And eventually, our endowment will mature to that effect. If you look at other endowments that have been successful for 50, 100 years. But the important thing is to make sure that our appointees have a business mindset and understand the value and the future add value of the endowment.
I know there are a lot of people that did not like selling the hospital, but just so you know, Novant has lost north of $150 million since they bought the hospital. And we've got $1.3 billion. They've gone through some tough times, but our hospital was going through some tough times when Novant bought them. So it wasn't all Novant's fault. And as far as what Mr. Barfield was saying about the 3 commissioners that put someone on the last meeting, I put people on there that are the most qualified, that I feel like will do the best job for New Hanover County residents. And I'm not choosing somebody because of this or that. I'm choosing the most qualified person. Thank you.
Regardless of how we arrived at the endowment in the county, I think it's an enormous resource that is a huge infusion of resources and needs in our community that really can change what it means for everybody who lives in New Hanover County to live here. So when I think about who I would appoint to the board, I want people who are committed to the success of our community, people who've shown that they've been successful in that commitment, and people who represent the entire county. In order to understand the needs of the folks in the county, we need to be represented by a diverse array of backgrounds and experiences with the decision makers in that room. Thank you.
I don't like to look backward, I like to look forward. We're here right now, and we have a wonderful opportunity with the endowment as it's currently structured. We put some wonderful people on there, and I'm very proud of the people that we have serving on our endowment. Let me call out some of the successes. They've invested in a nursing initiative that trains and retains nurses in our community, a literacy grant to our schools, investing in affordable housing, There are a lot of things that you can say that the endowment has done wrong, or maybe there were things that could have been done better, but they are doing something new and bold and important. They are taking $1.3 billion and they are deploying major capital in exciting new ways into our community. I encourage you, please, they have committees. You can reach out to me. If you think that it can be done better or there's a way to make it work even better for this community, reach out, get involved. That's how we're going to make a difference. But I want to commend those folks. They're doing a good job.
Okay, and along a similar topic line, we have our final audience question for this group. The question is, many residents have serious concerns about healthcare quality in our hospital. Where do you stand on this? And we're going to start with Commissioner Reidenbach.
What was
Sorry.
a
Many
concern about?
residents have serious concerns about healthcare quality in our hospital. Where do you stand on this?
Well, they've had some problems. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, everybody in here knows that there's something that went wrong. The emergency room, people lined up in the hallway, no beds. Ernie Bouvio, the new CEO at the hospital, he and I have become good friends, and he's sat down with us several times, where he has with I and the county manager, and showed us what they're doing, what they have done, what was done before he got here. And if we will give him a chance, this guy will fix that hospital, I promise you. Some people say they're rated a 2 out of 5. That's on a scale of 4 to 5 years, so they're getting rated on stuff that happened before they even bought the hospital. They're doing a better job. They've got the emergency room cleaned up. All 800 beds, I think, are full. They're building some more places out on at Porter's Neck. They're trying as hard as they can, I promise you.
So after the sale of the hospital, it's no longer a community hospital, and the county no longer has the influence that it did in how the hospital operates. But what we can do and what we need to do is we need to continue to build a talented workforce so that we have great quality people working in the hospital, providing health care to us and our families and folks across the county. We have already seen investment in that, and we need to continue to do that. And we need to continue to make New Hanover County a place where those talented, quality individuals still want to call home, so that they want to live here, they want to work here, and we can grow that talent from within and attract talent by being a great place to live.
The hospital certainly has work that it needs to do to get better, but I believe in building people up and supporting them rather than tearing them down. I want to again call out what the endowment has done in creating the nursing pipeline. These are the sort of initiatives that we need to pursue. We need to support our hospital, and yes, we need to have open and honest dialogue with them about where there are deficiencies. But if there are ways that we can improve, they need to communicate those to us as a community, as a commission, and then we need to come together to work together and find ways so that, for instance, whenever it comes to getting more nurses into our community, we create a pipeline for that, or we create initiatives that bring doctors to our community. And ultimately, if there are problems that we have, if there are things that we need to fix, we fix them together. I'm dedicated to that.
So as I mentioned, I have a long history with the hospital, obviously over the years growing up here, and, the sale of it, it needed to happen in some ways. We need to figure out partnerships. Going private has obviously changed the dynamic. But I will tell a good story about the hospital. My husband just had open heart surgery about 3 months ago, and I was a little nervous because of the stories that we've been hearing about what was going on. But he got excellent care there in the cardiac unit, and I'm forever grateful to the nurses and the doctors that helped save his life. Yeah, there's work to be done for sure. I mean, this is a business. This is an economic conversation too, because we have Duke and UNC up the road, and a lot of people are deciding to go there because they're worried. But if we're looking at business, they're going to look at our hospital. They're going to look at how solid it is, and there's some really good pieces, to Novant, and they've done some good work. And the women's hospital is good too. So I think we've got work to do. I just think we do need to be supportive of them, and hopefully we can get them to do a little bit better. Thanks.
I'm the only candidate and commissioner that voted to sell the hospital. Proud that I did that. The only candidate and commissioner to serve on the Board of Trustees at NHRMC, and I'm proud that I've done that as well. When I served on the Board of Trustees, our number one concern was patient quality. And patient quality is one of the things that drove the president's bonuses. The higher the quality scores, the better his bonus would be. There was a laser-like focus on patient quality, making sure that patients had a great experience at NHRMC. Jack Bartow, in my opinion, was one of the greatest things we've had when it came to our hospital. It's important that the hospital has a keen and sharp focus back on patient quality. Send out those tests to the patients that have come here, or quizzes or surveys of patients that have been at the hospital, to make sure that they can find ways to improve on patient quality. And once that number goes up, you'll find that our community is indeed happy with the service they're getting at Novant as well. Patient quality is number one thing you should be looking at.
Prior to COVID, Jack Bartow, I agree, was a great leader, and Jack Bartow raised the alarm flag that the hospital was losing millions and millions of dollars a year in response to indigent care as mandated by the Affordable Care Act. During COVID, somebody in leadership decided to shut down elective surgeries, and that cost the hospital millions of dollars a day. And so coming out of that, making the sale of the hospital was important. At this point, we have to clearly define our expectations of Novant and make sure that we're building the pipeline of nurses, as Dane alluded to, and make sure that we're clear in our expectations. I think it's also important to note that with the Affordable Care Act was designed to limit competition. Community hospitals, since the passage of the Affordable Care Act, have diminished and they've almost disappeared, making way for these large corporations to control our healthcare industry. So I think it's important for us all to understand the past and how we got here to that path.
Thank you very much. So in closing, share one thing why somebody should vote for you. And we're going to start with Commissioner Scalise.
You should vote for me because I get things done.
Ms. Walker.
I'm going to take a little bit longer. I grew up here. I love this community. I dedicated my life to public service. I'm a small business owner, so it gives me a little bit of flexibility. I've been serving on the school board for 4 years now, and it's not been easy. It's really kind of worn me in on what it takes to work with folks of all different, with all different ideas. You know, I have been through a lot on the school board. You know, everybody just need to Google it, but you know, went through a 100-year pandemic. We've had to deal with, you know, the assaults that happened to the students before I even got there. There's a lot going on, but you know, I really do believe that public schools are a public value. And I really think that I can see a good future for us. I know we can't stop growing. I feel like we got to be smart with it, though. We just have to develop with a smart growth mindset. We have to think about our environment. We have to think about how we, you know, obviously develop for it, how we solve the affordable housing crisis and the homelessness situation. I just think that is what I would bring to the table. Thank you.
Proven trusted leadership. One thing about me, my yes is always a yes, and my no is always a no. You know where I stand. I've been on this board for 15 years. I've been the senior member on the Board of County Commissioners for the past, since 2012. It's really been an honor to be in that role, to have the institutional knowledge to share with others about the history of the county, number one, but also how we can grow and do things better. Second reason, I make a great Santa Claus for my grandkids. Once my beard fully grows out, you're going to see a great Santa Claus as well. But seriously, my favorite author, John Maxwell, says it best, that everything rises and falls on leadership. 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 Thank you.
One thing, right? Just, right, one thing.
There are a lot of things about me.
Yeah, as a Wilmington local, I want to make sure that I make a point that, you know, in my vocation, I've taken the opportunity to deliver workforce housing units to the community without one dime of public dollars. I think it's important that we elect effective leadership, but I think it's also an opportunity for some fresh blood on the commission, and that's why I decided to run. So thank you.
Me? I agree with Dane. I spend a lot of time at our county building. I walk the floors. In our new building, everybody that has an office, it's glass, most of them, and their name and what they do is up front. I go in and talk to all of them, ask them what they do, how long they've been there. And I feel like I build up a lot of trust with all the employees. Because people call us up and say, can you help me with this? Well, if you know the people, it's a little easier to help them. And I think that I've done a good job of that. And I just love being in Hanover County, and I want to get some stuff done. And I appreciate your vote.
I bring a fresh perspective to the Board of Commissioners that we haven't seen before. I'm a single mom raising my 9-year-old daughter here in the county. I'm a leader in the tech sector, which we haven't seen on the board before. And I'm an everyday person who's living and growing and experiencing the wonderful life here in the county. Those are experiences and leadership that I think we need on the board at this time, and I would really appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Can we get a round of applause for all our candidates?
Thank you.